Time is the most powerful force in the universe. It shapes everything around us, the choices we make, the moments we live through, and even the people we become. But what if someone could control it? What if one person had the power to manipulate the very fabric of time itself? What if one single decision could change everything? For Ryuto Kageyama, the ability to control time isn't just an abstract idea, it's a terrifying reality. He was never meant to wield this kind of power. No one is. But fate, as it often does, had other plans. Ryuto was thrust into this world where time could be bent, broken, and even erased. And as the rift in space-time opens before him, he must make a choice to change the past, embrace the future, or risk losing it all. It wasn't always like this. Ryuto's life was simple once. He was just another student, trying to get by, dealing with everyday struggles. But then the rift appeared. It started with a flicker in his peripheral vision, a small crack in the air, barely noticeable. And yet, it called to him. The very second he touched it, the rift expanded, drawing him into a world where time wasn't fixed, where every moment could be rewritten, every memory altered. At first, it felt like a blessing. Ryuto could change the past, fix the mistakes he had made. He could save the people he had lost. But every time he used the rift, things changed. Things he didn't expect, things he didn't understand. The more he tampered with time, the more it slipped from his grasp. The world around him seemed to distort, like a canvas being torn apart and hastily reassembled. Faces he knew began to change. People he trusted didn't remember him. Friends became strangers, and allies turned into enemies. The first time Ryuto altered his past, it was for the simplest of reasons. He wanted to save his sister. She had died in a tragic accident, one he felt he could have prevented. In the blink of an eye, he was back at that fateful moment, standing beside her, watching the car approach. The accident was imminent, and he could feel it, the pull of time, urging him to make a move. He reached out, grabbed her hand, pulled her away from the danger. The car swerved, crashing into a nearby wall. He had saved her. For a brief moment, Ryuto thought that maybe, just maybe, he had fixed the world. But as the rift collapsed, the scene shifted. The world around him seemed to fold in on itself. His sister was alive, yes, but she wasn't the same. Her eyes, once warm and full of life, were now distant. She looked at him, not with the love she once held, but with an emptiness that sent a chill down his spine. The more Ryuto attempted to change, the more he realized time does not like to be altered. It fights back, reshaping things in ways that are impossible to understand. No matter what he changed, something always went wrong. A simple change here, a decision there, and suddenly the whole world was different. And with every change, Ryuto felt further from the life he had known. The people around him, those he loved, began to change. His friends, his allies, even his enemies, all twisted by the rift. Their memories no longer aligned with his. They didn't recognize him, didn't remember the bond they shared. Everything he had built seemed to disintegrate in an instant, leaving him with nothing but questions. One day, Ryuto returned to a place he had once considered home, a small park where he and his sister had spent hours talking and laughing. But now, it was a desolate wasteland. The trees had withered, the grass was dead. The park no longer existed in the form he remembered. Everything had shifted, everything had changed, and yet nothing felt right. That's when he met her, a figure from the shadows, walking through the ruins of his memories. It was Haruka, his closest friend, or at least, that's what he thought she was. But when she looked at him, there was no recognition in her eyes, no warmth, no familiarity, only cold indifference. "Haruka?" Ryuto asked, voice trembling with the fear of what he might discover. But she didn't respond. She simply stood there, staring at him with hollow eyes, as though he were a stranger. "You've done it, haven't you?" she said, her voice carrying a tone of disappointment. "You've changed it all. Now, look around you. Do you even recognize this place? Do you even recognize me? What's happening?" Ryuto whispered, desperation creeping into his voice. "Why is everything changing? Why can't I fix it? Why can't I make things right?" Haruka's gaze softened, but her words were sharp. "You've been using the rift, haven't you? You think you can control it, but it's not a tool for fixing things. It's a weapon, Ryuto. A weapon that manipulates you, twists your reality into something unrecognizable." It was then that the truth hit Ryuto. The rift wasn't just a force he could control. It was something far darker. It was something that wanted to be used, something that preyed upon his weakness, his desire to undo the past. It had been manipulating him all along, just as it had manipulated the world around him. And then, as if to confirm his fears, Ryo, the man he had once called a brother, stepped from the shadows. His smile was cold, calculated, and filled with malice. "Ryo," Ryuto whispered, heart sinking. "It was you. You knew all along, didn't you? You knew what the rift could do." Ryo's grin widened. "Of course I did, Ryuto. And so did you. You were always destined to wield the rift. You just didn't know it yet. You were always meant to break the world and remake it in your image." Ryuto stumbled backward, horror and realization washing over him. He had been nothing more than a pawn in a game he didn't understand. But Ryo's next words were the final blow. "The rift isn't just about you, Ryuto. It's about the future. You think you've been changing the past. No, you've been changing the future. And now that future is coming for you." The rift pulsed again, and this time, it wasn't just a crack, it was an explosion of energy that rocked the very foundations of reality. Time itself began to break apart, fracturing in every direction. The future Ryuto had seen, the future he had tried to prevent, was now rushing toward him, faster than he could comprehend. In that moment, Ryuto realized something far more terrifying than the power of the rift itself. He was not the only one who had the ability to control time. Someone else was pulling the strings, and they had been doing so all along. He could no longer run. He could no longer hide. The rift was not just his burden. It was a force far greater than him, far more dangerous. "You've done it now, Ryuto," Ryo said, voice filled with finality, "and now you must face the consequences."